Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the SmackDown report for the 11th of um, March 2022. Pretty weak show going into WrestleMania, but I'm not surprised by WWE at this point. Brock Lesnar segment opens the show with them showing Reigns beating down Lesnar at MSG and then leaving him a bloody mess. Not a bad opening segment. Lesnar chases Heyman to the back as an awesome scene. Basically, Lesnar makes his way to the ring to start SmackDown, notes that Reigns changed the rules. Reigns drew first blood, and now Lesnar wants revenge. He doesn't care about WrestleMania or the title. Lesnar throws the title out of the ring, basically showing he's angry. Angry Brock. Good thing. Hulk smash. Anyway, Lesnar calls Reigns out and says that he wants blood for blood. Heyman walks out and tells Lesnar that he needs to calm down. He also teases introducing Reigns, but instead claims Reigns is not in the building. Lesnar wonders if Reigns isn't there and who's protecting Heyman. Lesnar jumps out of the ring and chases Heyman to the back. Heyman runs for his life, screaming for security to stop Lesnar. Lesnar follows and destroys security guards, tries to stop him. Lesnar then chases Heyman through the backstage area. Heyman escapes in a basic beeline. They recap Sheamus and Rich Holland beating down Big E and Kofi Kingston last week, stealing Big E's ATV and destroying it with a sledgehammer. In the back, Sheamus and Holland bragged about destroying the ATV, and they claimed that they don't need sledgehammers tonight because they have Butch. Pete Dunne enters dressed like Sheamus and Holland. Sheamus and Rich Holland with Butch defeated Big E, Kofi Kingston 9:23. Obviously a scary moment here as Big E lands on his head. Medical staff checked on him and take him out on a stretcher. Big E announced on social media that doctors tell him he has broken his neck, and obviously thoughts go out to him for a speedy recovery. Kingston Big E jumped Sheamus and Holland before the bell. New Day has an early advantage. Big E storming around Sheamus is in the corner. Sheamus fights back and rocks Big E with a clothesline. Big E briefly recovers. Sheamus hits the 10 forearms in a row. Big E then drags Sheamus onto the apron, and Kingston takes out Holland with a crossbody. On the floor, Big E missed the splash, and cooler heads kind of take over. Back from the break, Kingston and Sheamus tagged in simultaneously. Kingston goes wild, his drop kick, and then a boom drop. Kingston sets up Trouble in Paradise. Holland causes distraction. Instead, Kingston hits the SOS on Sheamus, but Holland breaks up the pin attempt. Big E goes for the spear through the ropes, but Holland moves out of the way. Holland then gives Big E a belly-to-belly suplex on the floor. And here's where I'll stop and give commentary. There is no reason on a throwaway TV match to take that kind of risk with a guy that doesn't have the proper training. Number one, whether the spot is cool to watch and you get internet nerds to pop because there's a cool spot doesn't matter. Wrestling is about safety first. And in a spot like that isn't going to matter in 30 seconds. Is anyone going to remember that one spot? No, they're not. But someone's career and potentially life could be altered because we want to impress nerds like Dave Meltzer and other individuals who think that work rate and what's special matters. Wrestling is an art form first and foremost. And the art form is to make it look like it hurts, but stay safe at all times. This prevalence of high spot driven, complete drivel that doesn't matter nearly cost a man his career and potentially altered his life to where he can't live. Yes, this makes me angry. Yes, I've seen the rise in this over the 30 plus years I've been a fan, and 12 years I was in the sport. Learn to work, take risks only when absolutely necessary, and then recondition your fans to treat this like a sport and not a Cirque du Soleil stunt festival. And then guys like Big E would not have to take these risks with their bodies. Anyway, so kind of back to that, and obviously Biggie lands on the top of his head. He's hurt. Personal is on the way. Finish comes when Kingston climbs the ropes, but Sheamus hits Brogue Kick and ultimately goes for the win. After the match, Butch attacks Kingston. Butch is the former Pete Dunne. What a horrible name. Until Sheamus and Holland stops him. They recap Kevin Owens calling out Stone Cold Steve Austin last Monday on Raw to appear on the KO show at WrestleMania. They also showed Austin accepting Owens' challenge, which I guess is good, but if they're not doing a match, it's kind of anticlimactic. Anyway, they recapped Ricochet defeating Sami Zayn to win the Intercontinental Title and Johnny Knoxville causing distraction last week. In the back, Kayla Braxton interviews former Intercontinental Champion Zayn, said he's furious and she calls him he's called a former champion. Braxton shows footage from TMZ of Knoxville flying a banner in the sky with Zayn's phone number on it. Zayn's furious and Braxton shows the footage. Zayn claims that Ricochet got lucky last week. He points that Knoxville isn't there tonight and that he promises to win the title back. I don't imagine anyone cares about this. Drew and the Viking Raiders versus Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss, and Jinder Mahal. A match turns into an angle instead of a match, which I guess is fine. McIntyre makes his entrance before the break. Back from the break, McIntyre is waiting for his partners. Viking Raiders make their move to the entrance, and they cut backstage. Corbin, Moss, and Mahal and Shanky beat down the Viking Raiders. Heels run down to the ring attacking McIntyre. He also tried fighting back, but the heels are overwhelmed him. McIntyre breaks free. Corbin runs away. McIntyre beats down the heels and gives Shanky a Michinoku driver. You've built this guy up for how long? And oh wait, that's Veer. That's right. They make these indistinguishable guys who look the same and then try and split them off, and nobody cares. Anyway, Shanky gets hit with a Michinoku driver, and McIntyre grabs the sword. Angela then points to the WrestleMania sign, and then he ends the segment, recapping Ronda Rousey defeating Sonya Deville the previous week. Ronda Rousey heads out for the next segment. Fans break into a Ronda chant. Rousey addresses Flair, calling her a one-trick pony last week because she had her in the armbar. Complains about that and calls Mike Tyson a one-trick pony because all he does is knock people out with punches. Rousey then notes she's adding the ankle lock to her repertoire, and she learned it from her first mentor, Kurt Angle. Rousey said she made Flair tap to the ankle lock last week. SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair makes her way out to the ring, and she's wearing heels and expensive suit last week. She doesn't care that Rousey uses an ankle lock now. Rousey challenges Flair to prove she won't tap out, but Flair walks away. Fans chant, "You tapped out" at Flair. She walked around ringside. Rousey then promised to tap Flair out at WrestleMania and leave with her arm. They recap the opening segment, announcing that Angry Lesnar has left the building. Sasha Banks and Naomi defeat Natalya and Shayna Baszler at 3:13. You've got someone like Shayna Baszler, and you're sticking her in a throwaway tag match with Natalya. Some people would say it was good while it lasted. I say it's a waste of time. Match starts during the break. Carmella and Queen Zelina watch from ringside. So if we start matches during the break, why do we even care about them? The heels then gained an advantage and isolate Naomi. Baszler slows the pace down and works over Naomi's knee. Naomi recovers and kicks Baszler in the face. Gaining control of the match, Banks gets a hot tag and then runs wild on the heels. Then she hits a meteor on Natalya and sends the heels out to the floor. Banks gives Natalya a tilt-a-whirl head scissors and tag team champions at ringside. Naomi then takes out Baszler with crossbody off the stage. Natalya then catches Banks with a discus clothesline, near fall, and Zelina jumps on the apron. Banks then sends Natalya into Vega. Banks then pins Natalya for the win. They recap the Usos attacking Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs last week and defeating the Viking Raiders. They show footage of Reigns and the Usos beating Brock Lesnar At the MSG match, the Usos bragged about being the tag team champions for almost a year, and Reigns holding the Universal title for nearly 2 years. Nakamura and Boogs interrupt and demand a match for WrestleMania. Then the Usos mock him and make fun of Nakamura as well. They agreed to give them a title shot at WrestleMania if Boogs can beat Jey Uso. They pointed out that he has a knee injury, which and sorry about that. Doubted that he could compete. Rick Boogs with Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Jey Uso with Jimmy at 144. Boogs then reveals he faked the knee injury. Boogs gives Jay a delayed suplex and a press slam. Jimmy then tries to interfere. Nakamura cuts him off. Nakamura is a ringside. Boogs fights back and hits the Boogs cruise on Jay for the win. After the match, Jay breaks the guitar over Boogs' head. Nakamura and Boogs take on the Usos for tag team titles at WrestleMania 38. How far this brand has fallen. Anyway, Pat McCaffrey, Austin Theory segment. I'm not a fan of McCaffrey's. I love Theory, just wish they weren't wasting him. McCaffrey is fine in the segment if you can put up with his trash. But Theory gets into a brawl and the fans go into it. Cole is okay in this role. Sami Zayn and Ricochet make their entrances for the next match after doing ring introductions. Theory's music interrupts. Theory gets in McCaffrey's face at the commentary table. He slaps him and knocks off his headset. McCaffrey then loses his temper and jumps off the table into Theory. They brawl. Officials run out. Cole tries to stop McCaffrey, but he's forced to leave the building. The fans break into a Pat chant, and I don't know why. We are wasting WrestleMania time with all of this. Intercontinental Champion Ricochet defeats Sami Zayn, 12 minutes, 41 seconds. This is a good match. Focus on the start is Austin Theory and Pat McCaffrey. They cut away from the match to acknowledge that. Cole claimed that Johnny Knoxville and his crew influenced Ricochet's high-flying style. I don't think that's the case. Cole stresses that Johnny Knoxville isn't there. Back to the break, Cole notes that security escorted McCaffrey out of the building. He added that he's not sure about McCaffrey's commentary career. Cole stressed that McCaffrey is unprofessional and he has a job to do. Zayn and Ricochet start slow. They go back and forth. Ricochet takes over and hits a springboard clothesline. He then goes for the recoil, but Zayn blocks that. Ricochet then comes back, goes to the top rope, but Zayn shoves him off. Zayn then scores a close near fall and goes after the Blue Thunder Bomb. Ricochet counters, but Zayn maintains control, and then Zayn goes for suplex. Ricochet reverses that into a Rana for near fall. Ricochet then goes for the handspring elbow, but Zayn reverses into a Blue Thunder Bomb for a close near fall. And then they fight off the top rope. Ricochet then knocks Zayn off, and then he recovers. Zayn climbs back and gives Ricochet an exploder suplex. Sets up the haluva kick, but Ricochet counters with a recoil. Follows up with a 630 splash to retain the title. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair brawl to close the show. Short and chaotic brawl. They cut backstage. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair are in the middle of an intense pull-apart brawl. They fight around a car. Flair gives Rousey a suplex on the car's hood and continues to beat her down. Flair then walks off with a furious and angry Ronda Rousey looking on in pain. Anyway, I mean, this is good, and for a WrestleMania series, I guess it's fine, but it's not the build to WrestleMania like days of old for sure. We'll be back with more right after this.